There are habits that you have in your life that you're not aware of that are either hindering or helping you become who you want to become, that are helping you recover from your injury. There are habits that led to your injury, and there are habits that will help you to grow past your injury. These habits are ways that you can influence your recovery, influence your growth as a musician, and your growth as a human being in general. Identify 2 or 3 areas of your life that you feel like there may be some habits that aren't serving you or are less helpful to you becoming who you want to become. Then in the second column, I want you to write down if you are identifying this as a helpful habit or a less helpful habit. I believe that all of our habits became habits because they were helpful to us or they served us to some degree for a certain period of time, and then that became ingrained in us and became a habit. If it's a helpful habit, how are you going to anchor it into you more? If it's a less helpful habit, how are you going to change it? What are you going to replace it with? Doing it periodically, auditing yourself, and just being really honest with yourself about where are my habits leading me? Are they leading me to the path of recovery from my injury? Are they leading me to the path of not recovering from my injury? Bringing awareness to your habits, that is really what's going to be the biggest game changer. This injury has just become the greatest personal development program for me to help me become who I want to become, because ultimately the whole reason why we're doing this show is to help you become the musician and the person that you want to become, to use your injury, to use your setback as a way to become the greatest version of you. Welcome back to the show, everyone. One of the greatest gifts that my injury has given me is the ability to become more aware of the person that I'm becoming in all facets of my life. I realized that there were some habits that led to my injury and some habits that if I corrected my course, that they would be able to help me lead a healthier lifestyle and ultimately become the person that I wanted to become and have the career on my instrument that I wanted to become. And that's, as you guys know, that's the whole reason why I do the show, is to help you guys see those opportunities and see your injury as the opportunity to make those changes in your life to become who you want to become, to have the career in your instrument that you want to have. And I want to start out today by sharing a quick story from my personal life. One of the habits that I'm actually trying to get better at is the habit of keeping track of my finances better as a recently graduated college student with a full-time job. And that has brought a lot of things to the surface that I didn't realize were even there. It has brought more awareness to my habits, my financial habits. And this awareness came about from one of my friends who started a financial community or an online community where we talk about our finances, and has an online course. He's a financial coach doing very well for himself. And he encouraged us to track our finances for 30 days. And by tracking our finances, I mean that we were logging every transaction that went on. And that for me was something I had never done, because in my mind, I'm like, my bank does that for me. Why would I do that twice? But what it did was it brought awareness to my spending habits, to my saving habits and whatnot. And it was a humbling experience for me. I had to make some changes in my life and my financial habits that were things that I weren't used to doing. But they were helping me become who I wanted to become and have the financial stability that I wanted to have. And this is stuff I'm working to this day. Like, I just did these things yesterday as part of my financial routine. So the lesson that I want to kind of isolate in this story is that there are habits that you have in your life that you're not aware of that are either hindering or helping you become who you want to become, that are helping you recover from your injury. There are habits that led to your injury, and there are habits that will help you to grow past your injury if that's something that you are working towards, if that's something that you're really invested in personally. These habits are ways that you can influence your recovery, influence your growth as a musician, and your growth as a human being in general. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the show. I just wanted to jump in here real quick and tell you about something that I'm really, really excited about. For a while now, I've wanted to create an even more effective resource than just the podcast that injured musicians can go to receive the support that they need. And recently I did just that. So write this down. Trust the Process Podcast Injured Musician Support Group. I know it's a long title. We're still working on that part. But this is a place where people can go now, injured musicians and even musicians who have gone through injury in the past, and people that help musicians go through injury, where they can go to receive the support that they need, whether that be ask questions, share their victories, share their frustrations, and overall just receive the community and the support that they need in a very proactive, intentional way. And so I just ask that you guys support these injured musicians by sharing this group with them, that they can receive the support that they need. Okay, enjoy the rest of the show. And so the strategy I wanted to share with you, and this is a short episode today. First, identify 2 or 3 areas of your life that you feel like there may be some habits that aren't serving you or are less helpful to you becoming who you want to become. And then for me, like for example, we'll just call them musical habits, or your musical area of your life, or your emotional area of your life. I think those 2 are really, really interrelated that we don't talk about enough. And you have emotional habits, believe it or not. When things go awry, what is your habit of how you react to that event? When things are good, what are your habits regarding or how you react to those events? So pick out these 2 areas of your life. Take a piece of paper, divide it into 3 columns. Let's say, for the sake of argument, we're working on our musical habits, our music area of our life. And on the far left column of these 3 columns, you write the habits. So say you write 3 habits down. They could be, I practice in hour-long chunks every day, 3 times a day, or something, whatever the case may be. If you're going through an injury, it may be, I am trying to listen to a new recording of my favorite piece every single day. Another thing could be, I'm practicing without breaks. That's, obviously a habit. Or when I practice, I don't give myself as many breaks. That is a habit. That is a pattern of action. That's all a habit is a pattern of action. And then in the second column, I want you to write down if you are identifying this as a helpful habit or a less helpful habit. And one word about that, I believe that all of our habits became habits because they were helpful to us, or they served us to some degree for a certain period of time. And then that became ingrained in us and became a habit. However, there are certain things that don't serve us long term. So sleeping in, for example, that serves me in giving me more rest. However, sleeping in also doesn't give me the time that I need to get the things done that I want to get done. And also it doesn't give me the energy that I need. So all of our habits serve us to some point, but some of them are more helpful and some of them are less helpful. And then in the third category, if it's a helpful habit, how are you going to anchor it into you more through different visual cues? A great book to read about this is Atomic Habits by James Clear. He talks really in depth about this topic. And then if it's a less helpful habit, how are you going to change it? What are you going to replace it with? You can't just say, I'm going to stop doing this, because you need to be able to replace it with something, with a more helpful habit or a more healthy habit. And so the thing is, this has all been a game changer for me, this habit audit that I do. And you don't necessarily do it super often, because it takes time to develop habits and to get rid of habits. So you don't need to be doing this like every single day. But doing it periodically, auditing yourself, and just being really honest with yourself about where are my habits leading me? Are they leading me to the path of recovery from my injury? Are they leading me to the path of not recovering from my injury? This was something that one of my mentors did with me in his own way, in helping me see what physical habits led to my injury and then what physical habits would help me stay healthy. So one of them was, Clark, you're not getting enough sleep. And so I started to get more sleep. Another one was, Clark, you're not getting the adequate nutrition in your diet. So I started changing my diet a little bit. And for me, this injury has just become the greatest personal development program for me to help me become who I want to become. Because ultimately, the whole reason why we're doing this show is to help you become the musician and the person that you want to become, to use your injury, to use your setback as a way to become the greatest version of you. So I know that that is possible. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in other people. And I really want you to internalize this awareness principle, that bringing awareness to your habits and to your thought patterns, especially talking about the emotional habits from before, your thought patterns, that is really what's going to be the biggest game changer, is how are you navigating the habits of your thought patterns, and do that same process with that. So keep on keeping on, guys. I think about you every day. I literally obsess over how I can better serve you guys, bring more value to you, and how I can help you overcome your injuries and use them as opportunities to become the greatest version of you. So keep on keeping on, guys, and keep trusting the process. Hey, before you go, we need your help with something real quick. Somewhere out there is a musician who is going through an injury or just a tough time. There may even be an educator with a student in that situation that they don't know how to help. We need your help in getting this message to them. Would you do them the favor of sharing this episode on your socials and with your friends? Also, cliche that it may have become, leaving a rating and a review actually does help people find us, not just boost our ego. So would you take a quick second and leave us a review so that musician can find us more easily? If you want to reach out to me personally, I would love to hear from you. Just look for the Send Us a Text Message button in the show notes of the episode. You can do that on any episode on your chosen podcast platform except YouTube. If you have a suggestion for a guest or topic to cover, shoot me an email at trustprocesspodcast@gmail.com or send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. I want to extend another heartfelt thanks to my team, without which this podcast would not be able to happen. Thanks to Daniel Baldwin, our audio engineer, Kevin West, our music and sound effects coordinator, and Dana Lovell, our promotional materials coordinator. So to all of you out there in podcast land, keep on keeping on and trust the process.